So I got the Mad Men DVDs and all of the Nickelback albums.
I don't even know if I have a DVD player.
I was wondering about. I think I do. I think I do.
I gotta have it somewhere.
I think we got to go out on tour with them.
They were open for us, though. I mean, let's not kid each other. They're open for us.
Hard to come by.
Cal Ripken, you can help Cal Ripken Jr. The Cal Ripken Senior Foundation and its partners launch Strike Out Hunger 2020, Feeding America. Lend a helping hand during the challenging times. Join them by donating at ripkenfoundation.org/donate/strikeouthunger. Rip, how are you today?
I'm doing really good. If I could just say in a real quick thing, you did a really nice job of giving all the details. But our foundation has helped kids all across the country, and now we've shifted our focus temporarily to help the food insecurity. And I couldn't be prouder of our foundation. We put in $100,000. Our partners put in another $150,000, and I think other partners are adding money right now. So we got a really good start. But we want to help as many kids as we can, and that's all I'm asking for is a little help. $1 given is 10 meals distributed. So $5, $10 can go a long way.
Awesome. Well, it's great to talk to you. I don't know if you watched the re-air of your game last night on ESPN when you broke Lou Gehrig's all-time record. Have you watched that game?
I did. I realized last night that I hadn't watched it in its entirety, from start to finish. And listening to Chris Berman and Buck Martinez, that was kind of fun. And then listening to Earl Weaver and John Miller and everybody else. And it's actually fun. I like going back and looking at myself then because I was kind of skinny. But to see the other guys, to see Chris Berman, how youthful he looks. I mean, it's 25 years ago that happened. It's amazing.
You gave your jersey and hat to your family.
Uh-huh.
Now, was that to make sure it didn't go to the Hall of Fame, that you wanted to keep it?
No.
Okay.
No, I was given by my kids that morning the black T-shirt that said 2131 Hugs and Kisses for Daddy. And my daughter was 5 and my boy was 2. And so I didn't really have it figured out, but I wanted to show them that I wore my jersey.
Oh.
I mean, I wore the T-shirt underneath. And I was thinking about unbuttoning and kind of showing it to them. And then I got the idea in the midst of that 22-minute ovation. I kept coming out embarrassed to say thank you all those times in a row. But I came out and I took my jersey off, and I asked Butch, the clubhouse guy, to go get another jersey from my locker. And so I brought this jersey out and gave it to him. But the whole design was so they could see that I wore the T-shirt.
Oh, okay. Because I wasn't sure, but that you took it off. And then I noticed Rafael Palmeiro and Bobby Bonilla, like they were saying, go back out there. Like I think after the second one, you're like, I'm a little uncomfortable here. With a curtain
I was
call.
thinking about that. I remember it that Rafael and Bobby Bo were the two people, but if I really remember correctly, it was Rafi's idea. Bobby Bo took ownership of it because he wanted to push me out there. Jeffrey Hammonds was in on it. I think Leo Gomez was there, and I think we all didn't know what to do. Nobody could have written that sort of script, but we were saying, God, we got to get this game going on. I was kind of embarrassed that Mike Messina was pitching, and it was like a long rain delay for him. And then they said, you got to take a lap. And I'm going, I'm not taking a lap around this park. And I might even said, that's a dumb idea. And then when they pushed me down there, and I started to see people's faces that I knew, I started to see some people that I knew their names. And then the celebration turned from this huge outpouring, from upper decks and lower decks into a real intimate celebration. So it was pretty amazing.
But what was bizarre, though, Rip, is we knew that it was going to happen. It wasn't like you were Kirk Gibson and you just homered off Dennis Eckersley in the World Series. It was, hey, this is going to be an official game when it's an official game. And then all of a sudden we're like, let's go crazy. It's an official game. Congratulations, Cal Ripken.
You kind of summed that up pretty good. I didn't know this, but I was talking to Tim Kirchin yesterday, and Tim Kirchin said, at game number 2008, they started the banner on the warehouse. And I remember the first time the Banner on the Warehouse, they started playing this music when the game became official, whether it's 4.5 or whether it was 5, depending upon if you were ahead or not. And then all of a sudden, the number would fall down, and there would be a new number on the warehouse. And so it almost brought the fans along to that moment of the number dropping, which created its own drama in itself. So, and I think it was just an accumulation of, all the years. And I think for personally, one of the things that I enjoyed most about that year-long celebration was that everybody related to, showing up. They related to the work ethic of a perfect attendance in school or never missing a day of work, or they took pride in that. So I heard everybody's streaks that they had in their own lives. And I thought that was pretty interesting that, we as athletes, I could never be a basketball player and guard Shaquille O'Neal down low because, you don't have the size. In baseball, it seems like you can be any size. And it's interesting that a work ethic or how you go about your job, everybody can relate to that as well. So that was really fun for me.
Did you ever miss, school because you were sick?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
I didn't. Here's the amazing part is that because I did miss a game, people think that I have this obsession and I had perfect attendance in school and everything was, but I always laugh because, people looked at not missing a day of work and I go, that's a real streak. And I say, because I don't work.
Yeah.
I play a game for a living. I don't have to grow up. But you can be a kid until you're, in my case, 41.
But how do you avoid injury, though? That's there's a little bit of luck. I don't know how much strategy, but you're playing shortstop. There's plays at, second base. I don't know how many times you got hit by a pitch during that streak, but it's amazing.
You could get hurt in any number of ways, and the freakish sort of ways. And there was many people that were on the disabled list for things that they did at home. And so I remember People Magazine was asking me, do I not cut up my own food? Do I not use knives? Do I? So there were different things that they were asking me to kind of avoid home accidents. But the truth of the matter is, I did get injured. I mean, everybody that plays the game is going to have nagging injuries, and you have to deal with a certain amount of nagging injuries. If I play 162 or somebody plays 152 or 145, it's a similar sort of feeling all the way through. I did have a good set of genes. I healed really well. So if I hit a line drive off my instep, hit a ball down on my foot, it would hurt like nobody's business. But when you look at it the next day, I didn't have the swelling, and I didn't have but other people could hit a ball off their foot, it could swell up, and then they couldn't move their foot or ankle, and they would go on a disabled list. So I had a good set of genes. But the best part about it is when you do play through an injury and then you force yourself to go through, and then there's light on the other side, and you do well, then you have confidence that the next time that happens, you can do it. So I always thought the key to anyone playing all those games in a row, do it once. And if you finish strong in September, you've answered the question whether you were capable of doing it or not. And then it's just a matter of keeping that same approach each and every year.
Before I let you go, help me understand how baseball could pull this off where they could get all 30 teams in Arizona and play a baseball season.
If you put on your analytical brain, which I can't turn off, the hurdles and the challenges are almost intimidating to, sort of an idea like that. But I think I stepped back a little bit. I was happy. My first reaction was I was happy that Major League Baseball is working so hard to bring it back in some shape or form. So I guess given the fact that if we can have it in some form, because I do think baseball is healing in some ways. Sport is healing to all of us in our day-to-day lives. I witnessed that, and I would have never thought after 9/11 the role that baseball played in that short term. I thought was pretty phenomenal to allow us to distract, to dive into baseball, and I think in this case none of us have been through anything like what we're going through now, and so I look for some signs of normalcy, and for my world, I'd love to see the guys back on the field playing baseball in some way, shape, or form, so I could get that in my daily life.
Good luck here, Rip, and great to talk to you. It's Strikeout Hunger 2020 with Cal Ripken. Great to talk to you. Hope you're doing well.
Hey Dan, how are you doing through all this? I often wonder. Everyone's work is affected. You guys can do things digitally, and you can still go on, but you don't have all the information and the content that you usually have.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more challenging, but I think it's brought us closer together with my guys because now we're in constant contact. Now we're looking for things that are interesting to us and you hope interesting for your audience. So you're just, each day you think differently than taking it for granted that, hey, I'm going to recap what LeBron did last night. Then you go, like I have Hank Aaron on later today. I have the Oregon basketball player, Sabrina Ionescu. We'll talk the NFL draft. So you're just kind of bouncing around. It's a game of pinball every day, but it's a different game of pinball.
So you'll be better off as a result of this in some ways.
Yeah.
If you have an optimistic view.
Yes. I'm a five-tool announcer here.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Rep.
All right. See you, Dan.
That's Cal Ripken Jr. The story I was going to tell you, I was at a Preakness party, and Cal Ripken was there, among other, some NCAA coaches were there. And I was standing with Cal, and this woman comes up. She goes, I know you. And Rip goes, because you're in Baltimore. And he goes, yes, no, I know you. And you could just see where Ripken is going, yeah, I mean, come on ahead. Say I'm the great one. I'm unbelievable. My street. Steve Wilkos from the Springer Show. Steve has his own show now, but he was the director of security on the Jerry Springer Show. And I was doing my best to not laugh because she goes, Steve. And then you could just see where Rip's going, wait, call me Steve. Not even Billy, his brother. And Jerry Springer's show. And I go, oh, I just started. Yeah, and I said, hey, Mr. Iron. When she left, I go, hey, Mr. Iron Man. He goes, oh, gosh. He goes, I didn't know what to do. What should I have done there? I go, no, you handled yourself. You were good. She thinks that you're Steve from the Jerry Springer Show. Honey, you'll never guess who I met today. Steve Wilkos from the Jerry Springer Show.
Yeah, from Springer.
Yeah. As we say good morning to Hank Aaron, Hall of Famer. And on this day, 46 years ago, he homered off Al Downing and number 715. How are you, Hank?
I'm fine, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I actually went back and listened to Vin Scully's call of the home run. When's the last time that you sat down and watched that?
Oh, my goodness. It's been a time. It's been a while. It has been a long time, Dan. I haven't watched it that much.
What do you remember about that night? Like, is there something that never came out or something that is just special for you, something before the game, after the game that happened?
Well, the thing that I remember most about that night was my mother. She was so enthused. She was so happy, and And when I hit the home run and got around the bases to home plate, she grabbed me, and I had never been hugged before in my life like that.
I did notice that she was holding on for dear life to you. She just didn't want to let you go.
No, she didn't. She was quite happy, and I was thrilled.
What did you keep from that night?
I think I remember that night. I remember most was the fact that.
Well, did you keep your uniform? Did you keep the bat? Did you what memorabilia did you keep from that night?
I don't think I kept anything as far as that's concerned.
Oh,
I don't think I kept anything. I think I went home, Dan. I think I went home. My wife and I both, and we prayed, and I asked God forgiveness and thanked Him for everything that He had done for me, and that's the thing I remember most.
did you thank him for that pitch that Al threw to you that was up in the strike zone?
Well, a lot of people talk about that pitch, but that was, he was quite a pitcher.
He won 20 games before, yeah.
Yeah, he used to pitch with the Yankees, and he was quite a pitcher. And I had never had good luck against him. And for some reason, it was the night that come calling, and I hit the home run off of her.
And you homered in Cincinnati off Jack Billingham. And then I think, did Bowie Kuhn, the commissioner, want you to wait to go to Atlanta, or you wanted to wait to go to Atlanta to try to set the record there? He made you play maybe the next day in Cincinnati. Does that sound right?
Yes, he wanted me to play the next day. Yes, he wanted me instead of I opened the season up. I hit the home run, and then I wanted to wait and do the rest of it in Atlanta here. And he said no. He said you, by your record, say you played every other day, and said you should play today.
How different would your career been if you played in a bigger market?
I think it would have been a lot different, but then I don't know. I kind of.
Were you a small market guy? Like you were in Milwaukee and Atlanta. If I swapped you and Willie Mays or you and Mickey Mantle, would your personality, would you done okay in New York as opposed to Atlanta and Milwaukee?
I think I'd have got along as far as very well, but I don't know that I would have been the same type of ball player that I was in Milwaukee. Milwaukee was made for me.
Yeah,
I loved Milwaukee. I was a country boy. Milwaukee was a country city. And I just loved being in Milwaukee.
What other sports did you play growing up?
I played a little basketball. I'm sorry, not basketball. Take that back. Looking at basketball, I played a little football. But other than that, Dan, I didn't play any other sport. I played baseball. I was strictly a baseball player. I played baseball from 8 years old until I got to be 12 or 13.
How good at running? Were you a running back?
I could run pretty well. I didn't have the feet like some of these wide receivers or running backs had, but I could make hay.
You can
could do things. I could do things that I wanted to do.
But I think, how much was the most you weighed? 180, maybe?
I weighed the most I weighed was 180.
Wow.
That was it. I never weighed more than 180. I always, if I got 185, 190 pounds, I was overweight.
But you had those quick wrists. Like Mike Schmidt and you were the two guys. I just remember it was a flick of the wrist because you weren't a big guy. I think your lower body was a little bigger. But how do you explain all of those home runs with not being a big guy?
I did most of my things with my wrist. For some reason, I don't know why, but I had very strong hands, and I had very strong wrists, and I did everything with my wrist.
Yeah, you did it quite well. 46 years ago tonight,
Yes.
he hit home run number 715. We're talking to Hank Aaron. You know, we've talked about this before. You were kind enough to share your feelings going into this, that you got letters, horrible letters. People didn't want a black man breaking Babe Ruth's all-time home run record. And then here you are in the South. You hit the home run. And then you have these two fans who run on the field as you're rounding second. What were you thinking?
Yes. These two kids ran on the field. And actually, they meant nothing. They didn't mean to do any harm to me. They had said before the game started that if I hit a home run, time presented itself that they were going to run on the field and make themselves presentable.
It looked like they were trying to take off your batting helmet.
Well, yeah, I don't know. You know, and one of them turned out to be a doctor. and they turned out to be pretty good citizens.
Oh, man. I cried that night when you homered. I was watching in Cincinnati. And, of course, I'm a big Red Machine guy. But
yeah.
I had your poster up on the wall, and I still have that. I think it was McGregor that had the poster with every one of the names of the pitchers that you hit home runs off of leading up to 7:15. Do you remember that poster?
I don't remember that.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I should send it to you.
Yeah, thank you. I wish you would.
Do you collect memorabilia at all? If I go in
a little bit, I don't. Everything, everything that I have, that everything, rings, watches, anything that I have, I've given it to Cooperstown. I give everything I ever had to Cooperstown. I don't own anything. And somebody said, well, why did you do that? Well, I said, it belongs to Cooperstown. I said, I played baseball before people, before lots and lots and lots of people. And I said, it belonged for them to enjoy. If they want to go to the Cooperstown to look at it, that's what they need to do.
And I also thought at the time when Bonds broke your record, it was unfair to bring you into that. I always felt bad about that. I don't know how you felt, but it was like, who do you think is the all-time home run champ? Like, I always viewed you as the all-time home run champ. He had more home runs. You're the all-time home run champ. That's the way I always answered it. But
well, thanks very much.
Did you feel uncomfortable when you were asked about that with Bonds? Like you were brought in to somehow explain Barry Bonds.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It felt like, they were unfair in saying, let me bring you in. Like, and what do you think of Bonds breaking your record? And like they were bringing you into a controversy there.
Well, they were, and the only way that I could get out of it was the fact that make a statement and get it out of the way.
Yeah. Well, it's great
and how you been doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing,
Man, I've been watching your show. You're doing a magnificent job.
Well, I'm during the commercial break here. I'm going to go back, and if I can get a cameraman, I'm going to show that poster to you. And I mean it. I'd love to send it to you but it's you, and it's McGregor Sporting Goods, and it's got all your home runs that you hit. Do you remember that first one?
I do.
Who did you hit it off of?
Vic Rasher.
Okay. What did he throw you?
He threw me a Big Rasher nothing ball.
Oh, love you. You're a treasure, and I hope we get many more anniversaries to talk about this. But thank you again. I know you're probably being inundated with people wanting to talk to you on this anniversary, and thank you. You always have a place in my heart.
Thank you very much, Dan, and good luck to you, and may God bless you.
All right, that's Hank Aaron, Braves Hall of Famer. Come on in. This is the green room, and I was talking to Hank Aaron today. And I had this poster in my bedroom, and it was sponsored by McGregor's, and it has every home run that Hank hit. I think up to 715. But I love that poster. And then having Hank on, and I said, have you ever seen that? And he hadn't. So I'm going to take this down and send this to Hank Aaron. Wait, doesn't that sound strange? I'm going to send it to Hank Aaron. It actually goes, it goes up to 713. 713, and then the 1974 season started. He homered off Jack Billingham in Cincinnati, and then 715 was Al Downing. But this is every person he homered off of. Date, inning, who was on base, opposition. That's pretty cool. I'm going to send that to Hank Aaron. My Oregon Duck guard, Sabrina Ionescu, the John Wooden Award winner. I got a jersey sent to me, Sabrina. It's yours, but I don't know if it's actually yours. So I feel bad if somebody sent me the jersey. It showed up in the mail. So do you know how I got this?
How?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Oh, I thought you meant. Oh, I mean, I think it's mine.
Just take credit for it. It says extra large, so I'm guessing that it's going to fit me. That's the reason why it was sent to me. But it's pretty cool that Nike did this. Did you have to go to Nike and say, why aren't we selling my jerseys?
I mean, I don't know if it was in the works or not. But I was getting people asking me nonstop about the jerseys, and so I had tweeted, kind of just asking, like, "Hey, are there going to be jerseys? Just not even for me, but just for other people, just because I'm getting asked all the time." And then the jerseys are out and selling, so it is pretty cool.
That's great. What's your trophy room look like?
I don't really have one, to be honest. I usually give them away or keep them at school somewhere just because I don't have room for them. So they're kind of all over the place. I don't really hold on to them.
What is the one piece of memorabilia that you have, sports memorabilia, that you treasure?
I like to keep jerseys. So I have a lot of jerseys from when I was playing, when I was younger, my USA basketball jerseys, my high school jerseys, college jerseys. So I think jerseys are the ones that I'll hold on to.
What about pro players? Did you collect jerseys from them?
No, I didn't collect jerseys. I mean, I have Steph's jersey. I have Klay Thompson's jersey. So I have some jerseys there. I mean, a bunch of pictures, banners, all that stuff.
And how did you form the relationship with Kobe Bryant?
We became friends a few years ago when he brought his daughter to our game at USC.
And then, but that's got to be pretty surreal, where you're going, okay, there's Kobe. Okay, he's walking over here. He's got you can't be cool under. How did you react?
It was really cool. I mean, it's always humbling, and I got goosebumps, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that Kobe? And our coaches knew, but they didn't tell us. So it really was like a surprise to see him, and to just be able to see him in person was crazy.
And look, I loved watching you play. Certainly with your ability to be a triple-double machine there. The poise you showed at Kobe's memorial far outweighed anything that you did on the basketball floor. You were, I don't know how nervous you were. You were unbelievable that day.
Thank you. I was very nervous. Before and after, I think just seeing how many people were there, and obviously all the emotions that were filled with being there was tough. But I think once I started and finally got up there and started speaking, I didn't really think about it too much, but I definitely was very nervous.
Sabrina Ionescu, the former Oregon Duck guard and best college basketball player in the country the last 2 years. What's it been like last month, since they decided they weren't going to play the tournament? What have you done?
Yeah, just working out and doing stuff at home. There's still a private gym that I can get into and go to that I worked out with before, and then just lifting and doing yoga, reading, still in school, and so just trying to find things to stay busy and stay sharp.
Liberty, the New York Liberty have the number 1 overall pick. Is that right?
Yeah, they do.
Have you already started looking at what it costs to live in New York?
I think they pay for housing, so I have not looked at the prices of housing.
Favorite player growing up?
Steph Curry.
And now, have you shot with him?
Yeah, we worked out. We're actually really close friends now, so it's kind of cool to see the relationship grow.
What do you do better than Steph Curry?
Literally nothing.
But you see that range, Sabrina. Like, we watch on TV, but he invented that. You can say that, Steph has had a bigger impact on the game than almost anyone in the history of the sport because he allowed everybody who is smaller to think that they can play. You don't have to be physical. Steph Curry's impact on the game cannot be understated.
No, it can't, and I think people that don't see that and don't value that don't really understand the impact that he's had on the sport. You walk into any gym and there's little kids shooting from half court. They're shooting, shots like Steph, and it's evolved the game. I wouldn't be surprised if the three-point line gets moved back, moving forward, and it's because of him and his ability. So it's been cool to see that.
If you didn't play basketball, what would you be doing?
Probably going to work, going to college, living a life.
What's your major?
I have no idea. If I wasn't playing basketball?
What's your major?
It's crime, law, and society.
Wait, what is that?
Crime, law, and crime, law, and society.
Yeah. So do you want to be a police officer? CSI?
No, I just wasn't good at math, so I decided to do law.
It's great to have you on. You should be very proud of what you did, and I meant what I said about to stand up there at Kobe's tribute, that memorial, and I went, I couldn't have done it, and I do this for a living. Couldn't have done it, but you're a special player and certainly a special person. I wish you luck in the WNBA and with the New York Liberty.
Thank you so much for having me and for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
That's Sabrina Ionescu, the Oregon 2-time Wooden Award winner.